FM 100. Now, let me please make welcome to the program the Governor of ECBIC, and very lately, most likely, not most likely, he's been announced as the opposition's choice to replace James Marape as the alternate Prime Minister. But we're talking about a wide variety of things apart from politics in general. But let me please make welcome the good Governor for ECBIC, the Honourable Allan Bird. Governor, good morning and welcome to the program.
Morning, Callaghan, and morning to all our listeners around the country.
Well, it's been an interesting couple of weeks, I'll tell you that much. Firstly, we had no idea. I was very pleasantly surprised to hear that you got the nomination as the alternate Prime Minister for a vote of no confidence motion that was presented to Parliament. We'll get to that later. But how did all of that transpire?
Well, to be honest, I wasn't expecting it. I was planning to leave government. I've had my disagreements with government for a while. I think many people know that. And I've been probably the most, you could call me the opposition within the government, blocking a lot of the bad decisions for some time. And around 8 months ago, I said, look, I've had enough. I'm leaving the government. And then Prime Minister said, look, let's talk about it. So he got the Honourable Boaz Pakop and the Deputy Prime Minister, Honourable Rosso, to talk to me.
Yep.
We had a discussion and I said, all right, I'll stay. So I stayed until we completed the report on the elections because I felt that was important. It was an important piece of work. So as you know, in December, we handed in fact, I was rushing to hand in the final report so Parliament could adopt it. Because I was going to quit and leave government. And I knew that, the minute I quit, they're going to remove me as chairman of the committee.
Yes.
So I wanted to make sure that at least the work got accepted in Parliament, which it happened. So I tried to meet the PM, but, obviously they were busy with close of accounts and all these things. I had to go home and sort out things in Vivek. Anyway, in the new year, I asked to meet the PM. In fact, I think it was he came back from Hela province on Monday or Tuesday, which is the 8th or the 9th. And so I was supposed to meet him on the 10th of January, and I was going to shake his hand and say, look, PM, I really can't stay anymore, with all of the stuff going on. And, I raised my concerns on Connect PNG, as you know. I raised it in the Parliament session, and obviously, I had to do it in such a way that my colleagues wouldn't be pissed off with me.
Yes.
So I asked it nicely. If you remember the series of questions I asked for Connect PNG, and I asked about the Section 209 compliance. But really, we were all. I guess many of us were aware of the issues surrounding Connect PNG. So. And then I was going to quit on that Wednesday, and same time we had Black Wednesday hit the nation's capital.
Yep. So January 10th.
I thought, oh no, I can't leave now. It's going to look like I'm quitting and running away.
You're bailing from a city.
I'm bailing. I'm a coward. So I stayed, and I waited, and obviously Governor Pakop called me up, and Trango, he tried his best, and he's a good man, Governor Pakop. I like working with him. Anyway, so I delayed it. And then, next thing you know, all the Paraka stuff started coming up. And I didn't know anything about the Paraka stuff. And obviously, Mr. Yafai was involved, so,
Yeah, and he's the CEO of the Younger DDA.
Exactly. So, and I heard that his life was being threatened, so...
Goodness.
Yeah, so I looked for his number. I asked around, and because I've never had direct contact with him. So I got his phone number, and I rang him up, and I said, look, and he said, yeah, my life is under threat. So we said, look, let's get you back home. So we got him back to Vivek. And I said to him, look, are all of these things true? And he said, I've got all the evidence, he said. He said, I was instructed to do these things, and I did them, but I covered my back. So I'm telling you, Governor, it's all true. And I was like, oh, my goodness. So for me, that was the final straw. It was right after I got the information on, because I had no idea about the Prime Minister's involvement at the time, as So time looking more at this like, you say, skin blow me. I can't hang around knowing that people are doing stuff like that. You know what I mean? Even though they're not convicted yet, but the evidence is quite compelling. So meeting him was him, name blow me so me toka, lusting thing. And so there was a whole bunch of Momase MPs who were trying to quit at the same time. So we were talking, and including young Bezel, member for Bulolo. So young Bezel contacted me, and some of these other MPs from Momase, they contacted me, and I said, look, I'm ready to go. You ready? Okay, you may go on them. But obviously the others had cold feet. And so young Bezel was like, I'm quitting now. He said, can you come and sit next to me? I said, yeah, no worries. And that's how it transpired. I had no idea I was going to be the nominee. But then when we got together with the opposition caucus, and I think generally they felt I'd be a better candidate, and they resolved to put my name in. It's quite humbling, to have, because I'm an independent. I don't have a political party.
That's what that was my next question.
Yeah. So, only at all skelim lo, ting blon, I'll feel also I'd be the most appropriate person to. So, I couldn't let them down. If you're in a team and your team says, look, we want to put you up, what do? Do you say no? And so I accepted. Obviously after consulting close friends and, my own advisors who said, look, go for it. And here we are.
Here we are indeed. Pardon me. The talk with Jacob Yafai, that was the proverbial straw that broke the camel's back.
For me, it was when I found out that when I saw the documents, for example, that the Prime Minister now, who was Finance Minister then, wrote to the Secretary instructing them what to do, including how to create accounts and all these things. I looked at it and I was like, oh, my goodness. I mean, maybe lo skin blomieta, o se lidana. And then, knowing very well that there was an instruction from the Prime Minister at the time, Peter O'Neill, telling them not to pay. So, all of this was done in defiance of instructions from and I think Krengakua was the Attorney General at the time. Krengakua, in fact, asked the Finance Department, I think he wrote a letter to the Finance Minister at the time, who was the Prime Minister, and said, look, send all the bills to us so that we can check, and walk Lomiblalo, Attorney General's office. But he never complied. And he went ahead and gave instructions to get the bills paid. So
now I wanted to ask as well. Part of the reasons prior to the announcement itself, Governor, yourself, Governor Pagom, and a few others, all the governors have been attending regular governors' conferences that since last year. I've noted from that, and quite numerous, in fact. I mean, I've never seen as many governors' conferences. Maybe I wasn't in the know back then, but plenty of time when I was ringing you time, checking you time for appearance on Talkback, you said, okay, I'm in the governors' conference. I was like, hey, there's a lot of governors' conferences coming up. And towards the end of the year, yourself, Governor for New Ireland, last man standing, Sir Julius, many were very, very unhappy with the 2024 budget, in particular as far as operational grants were given. Some getting slashed as high as almost 50 million kina being taken. Were these some of the main concerns raised by the governors? Were there other concerns that were raised as well that, kind of had a huge factor to your decision as well?
Well, my as I said, my dissatisfaction goes back a long way.
Yep.
Simply because, I believe in empowerment. And I believe that the current system disempowers us. If you look at my strategy in ECPIC, it's all about empowering my people. I empower the lower levels of government. I empower the public servants. I empower the police. So my job is mostly just oversight. I don't actually go down and do anything. I just oversight. I protect those who are doing the work.
Yes.
And I make sure they have the resources they need and they go ahead and do the work. That's basically the way I see my role. And so coming back to the national government, like for example, to me it's about efficiency. And I think we were not having conferences. We were having meetings. Conferences when national government spends 6 million kina and people fly in and you stay in hotels with entourages and everything else, and you have this big meeting.
Presentations are made.
Presentations and so on and so forth. This was different. This was just governors paying their own bills, individually coming in.
So everyone footed their own bills to the conference.
Yeah. And so we had meetings because, this idea about empowering provincial governments goes back about 20 years, It's not a new thing. And so people give it different names, autonomy, whatever. And so, in fact, Governor Paco rang me up one time and said, look, can we just call the governors together? And I said, okay. So him and I, we kind of volunteered to chair. It wasn't like a proper setup. We volunteered to take the lead. So we called all the governors and said, look, let's sit down. Why don't we point out exactly what we mean by the stuff we need from the national government? So we came up with 28 recommendations. Very specific.
28 recommendations?
Yes.
Wow.
So we gave those recommendations to the PM at Hilton Hotel, I think in March last year. So about a year ago. And so in there we captured a whole bunch of things which we felt would help Papua New Guinea work better and improve the fit between national and provincial governments. And the biggest part of that was about the block grants. And so we gave a written submission. And we were expecting, in fact, full credit to Minister Soroy Eoe. Minister Eoe, he tried to get it into the budget. He tried very hard, but he got knocked back at the budget stage. So I have to give him credit for trying. And we were asking for like a small amount. I think, we were saying, look, 5 million, 50 million, somewhere there, every province. And then let us take care of law and order. Let us take care of fixing roads and, whatever we can, hospitals, schools. But try us out, test us out, see how we go, then come up with a formula that works out what each province needs. And, you've got the National Economic and Fiscal Commission. They've got a formula there. They've already worked out, and the formula how to share resources with the provinces.
Oh, great!
So we try to bring all of that work together. We gave that recommendation in, but then nobody paid attention to it. And if you look at could the country afford it? Of course we can. You heard my debate around the police, the reinforcing of the police.
Yes.
And resourcing of the police. The government says, look, maybe give more 200 million penis. We're doing this, we're doing that. But the question is it enough? You see, nobody asked that question. I'm here 200 million, yeah? 200 million, yeah? You've got to look at what the need is. And you've got to look at what the threats are. And then you've got to build accordingly. We're not doing that. If you look at ECPIC, the provincial government is now trying to build 2 police barracks. Now we're going to pay for that, not the police department. We need one in Central Sepik, one in Wewak, because we're a huge province.
True.
ECPIC is bigger than the country of Israel when you think about it. So we're not small. And we've got a population of about 800,000 people, But if you look at the catchment area, you've got Nuku, Lumi, and Aitape in West Sepik. They sort of come to ECPIC for services. So you're talking about 10 districts, which is huge. We're bigger than Morobe. We're second only in size to Western Province.
Wow. So I didn't realize that.
Yeah, our difficulties are enormous. The only 2 provinces where you've got big rivers flowing through with swamps and mountains and everything else, flatland and coastline, are ECPIC and Western Province.
True.
So we're very difficult to operate in. And so we're always looking for ways. And, one of the things we've done is, when I first came in, we had a very small revenue base. So we've been working on building that over the past 6 years. So now our internal revenue is much larger, almost 6 times bigger than what it was. So we're able to afford to, for example, this year, we're giving 1.3 million to the police force just for their operations. This is not to, so that's to pay for their fuel, their boots, their guns, ammunition, laptops, ink, flex cards.
So how much is coming from the 200 million?
We get nothing from the 200 million. That's all used up here in Mosby. See, that's the complaint. Every governor you talk to has the same issue. They're saying, look, Konedobu is going to sort out this, that, and the other thing, but it doesn't happen. So what we're saying is, give us the money. Let us look after. I mean, in terms of command and control, like if you use the example of the police, the PPC can report to the commissioner. We don't care about that. But if there's an incident and they want to respond and they got no fuel, they got no tires, they got, so they go and they ask business houses to pay for it, or they ask you to pay for it, you see.
Yes.
They don't even have paper. They don't have pens. They don't have laptops. We bought laptops now for our police.
Really?
Yeah, it's that bad. Why do you think the cops are always asking for you to pay for fuel before they respond? They can't even get fuel.
So where's the 200 million kina going to?
Look, your guess is as good as mine, and I don't want to delve into it. I don't want to keep talking about the problems. I want to talk about solutions.
Okay.
So we felt the solution is Lari Mani Kamlo province. For example, if you look at the structure of a provincial government, you have a Section 32 officer there, which is the provincial administrator.
Yep.
So if the PPC needs something, he just calls the provincial administrator. The provincial administrator raises a claim. They solve the problem very quickly. You know what I mean? Right now, the provincial police commander has to call somebody in Waigani. And that could take months, because that's their reporting structure. So all of their payments, everything else comes out of Waigani. So it slows down how they operate. You know what I mean? So what we're saying is, and that's just the example with the police. If you want to fix a road, and it's a national road, you got to call Works Department here. And that could take years before they actually come out and fix your road. So we're saying, okay, give us the money for the road. Let the provincial government handle it, because you've got a provincial administrator who has the delegation of the powers already. You see?
Yep.
Let him handle it. Let's build the capacity in every province. Let them handle it. Let them handle the procurement. Let them handle the supervision, or Works can come and supervise. It doesn't matter, because you've got a national Works in the provinces anyway. But they do nothing. They just sit around then, because they don't have money to work either. You see what I mean? It's so inefficient. And so we can't respond. So plenty time more people, but governor no make him, member no make him. So the member is down there now. Member is now getting money, and member is building roads. Member is doing this and that, because there's a gap. The system is not delivering, so the member is doing it. You see what I mean? So we've sort of gone around, and so there's no institutional capacity, right, in the provinces, simply because everything is held here in Waigani. So that's what we're trying to do, and it's not really about. And see, here's the other argument.
And the thing is that we had a system like that before.
Yes, we did. We threw it out the window.
In 1995.
And now we threw it out the window. In the past, provincial governments worked fine, because they were getting block grants already prior to 1995. Provincial governments were getting block grants.
Yep.
Today we're not. 95% of the ECB provincial government budget, just like any other province, our budgets are determined by Treasury. We don't determine our own budget. So, for example, like in ECB, we end up with, say, 100 million sitting in the bank. That's simply because the money, that's 100 million, was determined for something else. So, we can't deploy that money. That'd be misappropriation, because it's already tied to a particular project. You know what I mean? You can't move it. You don't have discretion to move it. So if your road is collapsing, you can't get that 100 million and go fix that road. Or if you're running out of medicines at the hospital, you can't get that 100 million and go buy medicines, because that's not what the money is for.
So your development agenda is dictated by national planning?
Treasury.
Treasury, sorry.
It's dictated by Treasury.
Goodness.
That's every single province. We have no, and so our argument is, give us the block grant. Like, for example, in ECP, if the national highway, like at the moment, I've got a culvert that's collapsed at Parom, right? We can't touch it, because that's a national government road. The money for that bridge goes to Works Department, doesn't come to us. But if they gave me a block grant in ECP, then the provincial public servants can go take a look at that, they can estimate the cost, and they can come back and say, all right, let's contract it out, let someone fix it. So we can actually respond in a couple of months. You don't have to wait 2 or 3 years to get it fixed, which is the case now.
Goodness.
You see what I mean? So when medicines run out at a hospital, The PHA has some money, but the PHA also receives money that goes to specific line items. So they can't move the money around. They don't have the discretion. So if you're running out of medicines, you can't go and buy them unless you have another chunk of money there that you can go and buy medicine with, you see.
That's right.
We all have these operational problems. But I don't know why nobody's raised it in the past, but I'm raising them because I understand, like, for example, when my PPC said to me, look, Governor, me know what money lo fuel na. Me know what money lo. I can't operate. And I said to him, well, why not? He said, well, Koridobo gives me 90,000 kina a year. I have 6 districts.
90,000 kina?
90,000 kina a year. You know what I mean?
So, out of the 200 million kina, they get 90,000.
Well, out of whatever the budget is. Now, you check every province, every PPC has the same problem.
Goodness.
So in ECBIC, I said, well, bugger it, So we started allocating money. We started with about 500,000. Today, we are giving 1.3 million a year to police.
1.3 million?
1.3 million. That's coming out of ECBIC taxpayer funds. This is not, Mibla raising more money through lo GST na deslo narlo ngone mibla gim lo police now. Because we have no choice. We need to capacitate our police force so they are in a position to respond. And that money is spent by the provincial police commander. And when I talked to my provincial police commander, he said, Governor, I'm the only one in the country that's empowered like this. He said, me go long, conference lo gara PPC or jealous of me. And I told him straight, Governor, give money, I spend it the way I want. We acquit it with the provincial administrator. Simply because when ECBIC people need the law to respond, we can't wait for Waigani. Look at the case in Enga. You can't wait for Waigani. The Enga governor needs, or the provincial government, not so much the governor. You look at the situation in West New Britain, remember? Just a couple of months ago. All these killings, and you had people attacking public servants and the public in West New Britain. It was almost like a civil war. Provincial government couldn't respond. And I'm on government WhatsApp, and every day Governor Mutubel is screaming, asking for help, screaming. They promised him 10 million. And even when the volcano went off, they promised him 10 million. It arrived 3 months later. Wouldn't it be smart to let the East New Britain provincial government have the money? So when something happens, they respond immediately, you see. Because they're there. They're on the ground. Now you got to wait for Mosby. And that's been the way the system has been all this time, since 1995. And no one's bothered to change it.
Is it because of the case that it's a numbers game where the open members outnumber the governors?
Look, it probably. But let me put it this way. Even if you're an open member and things start going wrong in your district, you start running to the Prime Minister. And you see, that's the other problem. The budget is set up in such a way that you go to Prime Minister give him to right, them salim talk to treasurer, and they release some money to you. One man determines. I'm saying let the institutions do it. Yeah?
It'll give you less of a headache.
It gives everyone less of a headache.
Especially the Prime Minister.
Well, the Prime Minister stays up until 3 a.m. managing all these things every day. Except maybe on his Sabbath. I mean, how crazy is that? How crazy is that? And all you got to do is, we all want Papua New Guinea to grow, right? We want Papua New Guinea to develop. It's not going to develop if one man is determining everything.
It appears Mosby is developing.
It's not if you talk to Paco, because Paco wants to do a lot more. He can't. Even he's hamstrung. You see what I mean? The whole country is hamstrung. And I'm saying, release everybody. See, we're a diverse country. Okay, you're from Southern Highlands. Surely you want Southern Highlands to develop the way Southern Highlands should develop.
Yep.
Based on whatever the local conditions are.
True.
You see, just like someone from Chimbu wants the same. Someone from Central Province wants the same. Someone from, New Ireland wants the same. All over the country. But right now you can't. Because it's all centralized. You have to keep running back to Mosby. And some of the open members are beginning to see it. Like member for Chuave. He came in and he worked it out very quickly that there was a problem. So some of the open MPs, young Ki Hiduhu as well, he's worked it out. Said Julius has worked it out, but he came from Prime Minister to Governor and then he worked it out. You see what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So some people learn faster, some just take time.
It took a while.
But the thing is, while all members of parliament are learning, what's happening to our people? You know?
True.
You can learn it yourself at great expense, or you can listen to someone else who says, look, here's the problem, and here's how to fix it. And you can resolve it then and there. Or you can take 10 years to learn. It's up to you. Right now, we're still learning.
On the next one, the FM 100 Talkback Show, our special guest, Governor Allan Bird, in the studio with us. And again, I just noticed if those who are trying to follow this discussion on Facebook, we're actually live streaming this interview. All you have to do is log on to Facebook and type in NASFund Talkback Show -FM 100. That's our Facebook page. NASFund FM 100. Pardon me. NASFund Talkback Show -FM 100. And you can catch, and you can also post your questions there on our live stream as well. I'll be happy to read them out here in the studio. You can also send a WhatsApp message 77146340, or give us a call on 3233 3233 as we take a much needed break at this juncture. As always, we got to pay our bills as such, as what good governor was alluding to. On the NASFund FM 100 Talkback Show, more coming up.
This is the NASFund FM 100 Talkback Show. You're listening.
Welcome back to the NASFund FM 100 Talkback Show, supported by Bank South Pacific, Telecom PNG, Medan Resort, and Kalibobo Village.
Welcome back to the NASFund FM 100 Talkback Show. Special guest in the studio, Governor for East Sepik Province, the Honourable Allan Bird, and currently the nominee as the alternate Prime Minister in the upcoming vote of no confidence motion. Just a few messages coming in. One from Manda Kamakai, who says, my governor is an action governor. Thank you, sir. Also, Jeff Kamiru saying, solid PS, solid press. One bill to give him law empowerment. I see it in ECBIC, me, one bill. Thank you too much. We've got a call coming in. Let's take this call on the NASFund FM 100 Talkback Show. Good morning, FM 100 Talkback.
Good morning, Canada. Sorry. Good morning, Mr. Dante, Governor Allan.
Morning, through.
Morning, through. Sorry, your name and your location.
Sorry, me
Kenda disa sike Governor kisina blow me to him now and start late so lose me to triple over the kuse. My brother, please go ahead. Governor's in the studio with us.
Okay, Governor.
Yes.
Thank you for raising some